And so is the debate, by the way, heating up. There are people extremely concerned and those who think it's all nothing but a bunch of hooey. So what's the truth? We know you want to know, and so do we. So let's talk to a couple of experts, shall we? Joining us now from New York is Myron Ebell. He's a professor at New York University, says global warming is the real deal, no doubt about it. And joining them from Washington is Myron Ebell. He's with the Competitive Enterprise Institute and says it is mostly a bunch of hot air and exaggeration. Let's see if it's something we can start agreeing on. Can we agree that the Earth is warming? Mr. Ebell?
Yes, we're in a modest warming trend since about 1970.
So where is the difference? You would say the warming trend has nothing to do with human activity?
No, I think it probably does. We're burning a lot of coal, oil, and natural gas. That releases a lot of carbon dioxide, and that is probably partly or largely responsible for the, I repeat, modest warming trend that we're in.
So when you say modest, it implies that the other side, people like Mr. Hoffert, for example, are exaggerating the findings?
Well, I don't know about Dr. Hoffert, but I do know that there are a lot of people out there who are making outlandish claims about what is both happening now and what is likely to happen. Al Gore, of course, is the leader of that, but he's not the only one. There are a few scientists around doing it as well.
Give us an outlandish claim, and then we'll let Mr. Hoffert respond to you.
Well, Al Gore talks very easily and comfortably about 20 feet of sea level rise in the next few decades, he says. Now, the IPCC, the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is the consensus and authoritative body, in their 2001 report, their mean estimate was about 20 inches, and in their 2007 report, they reduced that to 14 inches of sea level rise between now and 2100. That, if it occurs, will be a significant increase over the current rate of sea level rise, but it's possible. We could have 14 inches, but 20 inches is just designed to scare people.
So you say, he says 20, it really is more like 14. Mr. Hoffert, you respond.
Well, there is an uncertainty range in climate change. I don't think that there's any doubt that global warming, which, by the way, I started working on in 1970, when the Earth was actually cooling, and where I was working, which was the NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies, we made some estimates that probably around the late 1980s, the signal from global warming would break out of the background because there is natural variability and there are reasons for climate to change.
But let's try and make it matter to our viewers. Let's say he's right, Mr. Ebell. Let's say he's right and it's only 14 inches in the year by now in 2100. What would 14 inches do? Would 14 inches, for example, put part of Florida underwater?
Well, certainly, if the concern is erosion of coastal zones, 14 inches would be a very big problem. That's not the only problem. There are many other things happening, including the melting of alpine glaciers, the melting of tundra at high latitudes, the loss of Arctic sea ice, the penetration of tropical disease vectors like West Nile virus.
Well, let me stop you there for just a moment.
The warming of the oceans and the fact that the intensity of hurricanes on a statistical average basis is likely to increase. And we're just at the beginning of a process that has an enormous inertia because the lags associated with the human system and with the atmosphere and with the carbon cycle are such that even if we stopped emitting all CO2 right now, the warming would continue significantly.
Mr. Ebell, could you respond to that? He named a whole bevy of things there that are going to be affecting us. Do you deny that those things could happen or will happen?
Some of the things. I mean, if you're waiting on the beach for the sea level to rise, your feet may eventually rot. But the fact is that we've had sea level rise at varying rates since the end of the last ice age, 12 or 13,000 years ago. We had significant sea level rise in the 20th and 19th centuries.
Do you deny?
We adapted to that.
Let me show you something. There's some pictures that we have. I want you to look at them, or at least let our viewers see them. All right, that was the North Pole. Jenny, when was this? That's the North Pole right now. The ice boundary around it, and we have a picture of what it used to look like. It seems to most of us who are not scientists undeniable. How would you respond to that, Mr. Ebell?
Well, I would try to look at the entire historical record. If you look at the data set for the Arctic temperatures, you'll see that there was a prolonged period